just over 150 years ago, in 1859, in a rural area of Pennsylvania in the United States. The person in this picture is Colonel Drake, at the site of which what many Americans agree to be the most important oil well ever drilled. The first successful oil well in history. Although the first well initially was only 59 feet deep and produced only about 2 barrels per day, it was not long before many began to realize the potential benefits associated with oil. Within 15 years, Pennsylvania oil fields were yielding more than 10 million barrels per year. His first major refinery, Standard Oil Refinery No. 1, was built during the late 1800s in Cleveland, Ohio. This was just the beginning of an incredible era. However, in 1911, the Standard Oil Company dissolved and split into 34 smaller independently run companies that include Standard Oil of New Jersey, which most of us today know as Exxon, Standard Oil of New York, also known as Mobil, Standard Oil of California, initially SoCal, currently Chevron, and Standard Oil of Texas or Mexico. Rounding out what many have referred to as the Seven Sisters, where BP, Shell, BP, and Gulf. Aramco's first refinery in Ras Al Noura began a 3,000 barrel per day tea-kettle refinery, and its evolution over the next 7 years into one of the world's top 10 largest refineries is a story in itself. Today, Ras Al Noura refinery supplies over 30% of the kingdom's fuel demand at its current 525,000 barrels per day. Historically, Aramco's focus has been primarily on oil and gas production and secondly on refining. With the need to supply in kingdom demand for finished fuels, along with our company's vision of cultivating its role as the world's premier energy supplier, investments in all upstream and downstream sectors have reached unprecedented levels. Let me share with you what we have now and our plans over the next few years. Here we see our current domestic refining picture, the name of each refinery and its capacity in thousands of barrels per day. In addition to our domestic refineries in Ras Al Noura, Riyadh, Yanbu, and Jeddah, we share refineries with our joint ventures, Samrud in Yanbu with ExxonMobil, Sasref in Jubail with Shell, and Bitrab in Rabin with ExxonMobil. Soon, we will see additions to this picture. 3 new 400,000 barrel refineries. The first is our joint venture in Jubail with Total or Sator. Will begin commissioning in 2012. Red Sea Refining in Yanbu will begin its commissioning in 2014, and Jazan Refinery in our southwest corner of the country in 2016. While each of the newer refineries will be designed keeping petrochemical products such as benzene, xylene, and paraxylene, mine Sasref is already producing benzene. A BTX system is underway in Ras Al Noura refinery as part of its clean fuel initiative. We can see that the total current in Kingdom refining capacity is 2,260,000 barrels per day. With the addition of the 3 facilities, capacity will have increased by 35% in 2016 to almost 3.5 million barrels per day. In addition to the in-kingdom refining capacity, and on a more international level, Saudi Aramco has expanded its Motiva joint venture in the USA to more Here you can see the company's extended refining capacity as we work closely with our international partners. This world map shows the refinery capacity at each location. I would like to end my story with a look at where we stand in today's petrochemical industry. Who's leading in our current market? Well, here we see the German chemical giant pass still with a comfortable lead, with Dow Chemical in the number 2 position. Our upcoming joint venture will, I'm sure, help to close the gap. While most of the companies in the list held their position since for over the last 2 years, 5 newcomers are SABIC, Sinopec, Lyondell Basel Industries, Linus, and Sumitomo Chemical. Other majors remain in this ranking due to their significant operations in the petrochemical sector. Indeed, we can clearly see that our refining and petrochemical industry is alive and well. In addition, we have a rather young workforce that cannot wait to take control. Let's work together to help them in this effort, safely and in an environmentally friendly way. This concludes my speech. I'd like to thank you and wish you a great time learning and contributing to this very important event. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself and then the question.
You mentioned the expansion plans for Saudi Arabia outside Saudi Arabia. What happened? If you can give us any updates about refineries in Vietnam and Indonesia?
Update on what?
On the refinery projects in Vietnam and Indonesia, and also the Qingdao refinery in China. Thank you.
Well, we continue talks about these expansions in the international. I'm sure it will yield results, but investments in the international do take a lot of time before we get to see things happening in reality. But these are part of the portfolio that Saudi Aramco have as plans for the downstream investment.
Yes,
One more question and I have to leave that.
yes, Mohammed A Al Omair from Saudi Arabia. We have a question regarding for this Dow Chemical project. What would be the market share for Aramco after this having this down in the petrochemical industry?
Well, it's going to build up by time. I cannot give a figure right now offhand. But certainly, if you look at a major project with all